It was a regular Thursday evening when Dr. Evelyn Hayes, a scientist working at the Global Communications Center, stumbled upon something that would change the course of history. The usual hum of satellites and data streams filled the room, but then a faint pattern caught her eye. A series of rhythmic pulses, almost like a heartbeat, coming from deep space. It wasn't random noise. It was deliberate, a message. She froze. Could it be? She quickly ran an analysis, but the algorithm couldn't make sense of it. This wasn't human-made. The signal originated from a part of the universe beyond the edge of known space, far beyond any human probes or satellites. Evelyn's mind raced. She had to tell someone, but who would believe her? After a few minutes of hesitation, she contacted her colleague, Dr. Daniel Cohen. Daniel had always been skeptical of anything outside Earth, but Evelyn trusted him. When he arrived at the lab, she didn't waste time. "Listen to this," she said, playing the signal. Daniel's face turned pale as he listened. "It's a message," he said quietly. "But from where?" "From somewhere far." "This is not a random occurrence," Evelyn replied. "I think it's real." Within hours, the discovery was shared with the world. The message, which had been garbled at first, slowly began to make sense. It was a warning: we are coming. The choice is yours. The world's leaders reacted in shock. Governments scrambled to decode the message further, but the truth was unsettling. The signal wasn't just a greeting. It was a declaration. And it wasn't the first time the aliens had attempted to contact Earth. Other civilizations had received similar warnings in the past, and they were all gone now. Evelyn and Daniel, now thrust into the global spotlight, were tasked with leading the research. But despite their growing fears, they knew that they needed to learn more. What were these aliens? Why were they reaching out? Was it a threat, or a promise? Days passed, and the message continued to pulse, repeating the same line: the choice is yours. The world held its breath, waiting for what would come next. It was on the 7th day of the signal that things began to change. A massive object appeared in the sky, its shape unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The military was quick to respond, but there was nothing they could do. The ship hovered above Earth, its size colossal, dwarfing the tallest buildings, its surface reflecting the sunlight in a shimmering glow. It moved slowly, deliberately, as if it had all the time in the world. The world watched in silence. Some were terrified, others curious, but all were mesmerized. The object wasn't just a ship, it was a statement. It was alive with energy, radiating a power humanity had never encountered. Evelyn and Daniel were called to the command center, where a team of global leaders and military officials awaited their expertise. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension, and Evelyn could feel the weight of every eye on her. The time for speculation was over. Now, the truth had to come out. "What do they want?" asked one of the military commanders, his voice low and urgent. Evelyn took a deep breath, her mind racing. "They've been watching us. They've been waiting. We have to make contact," Daniel said. "We have no choice. But we don't know if we're ready." The tension in the room escalated. The military insisted on preparing for defense, while others argued for diplomacy. But Evelyn knew that diplomacy was the only chance they had. The aliens were too advanced, too powerful, to be fought with conventional weapons. The key lay in understanding them, in making the right choice. Over the next few days, communication was attempted. The aliens did not respond immediately, but there was a sense that they were listening. The Earthlings' messages were met with silence, and the ship stayed in orbit, a constant reminder of the unknown that loomed over them. Then, on the 10th day, the ship released something, a smaller craft, one that descended slowly toward Earth. It landed in a remote location, far from cities, but the whole world saw it. News outlets broadcast the event live, but there was no sign of life from the craft. People waited, some with hope, others with fear. Hours passed, and then the door of the craft opened. A figure emerged, humanoid but unlike anything human. Its form was sleek, its skin shimmering with a metallic hue. Its face was angular, with large eyes that seemed to glow. The figure stood still for a moment, surveying the surroundings, before it began to move toward the command center. The world held its breath, wondering what this being would do next. The alien being, who would later be called the messenger, entered the command center, and the room fell silent. Evelyn and Daniel, along with global leaders, stood before the creature, unsure of how to proceed. The messenger did not speak at first. It simply observed, its eyes shifting between them all. After a tense moment, it finally spoke, its voice not through sound, but through thought. Evelyn felt the message inside her mind, clear and unmistakable. We have watched you. You have two choices. Choose wisely. The room fell into chaos. What did it mean? What choices were they being given? Evelyn stepped forward, her heart pounding. What are the choices? She asked, speaking aloud, though the being's voice had been internal. You can join us, or you can fall, the messenger responded. Your planet has reached the threshold. If you continue down your path, you will destroy yourselves. We offer you guidance, but you must decide. The world's leaders and military personnel exchanged nervous glances. The message was clear: join them and learn the ways of the stars, or face destruction. No one had the answers. The decision was too great for any one person to make. It had to be a global decision. Evelyn felt a surge of anger and fear. Could humanity truly trust these beings? Were they saviors, or conquerors? The messenger remained calm, its presence overwhelming but not threatening. It stood still, waiting. There were no threats, no demands, only the chilling offer: your choice will determine your future. The final decision was reached by a united front. Humanity would accept the aliens' offer, but on their own terms. They would not surrender their freedom, but they would learn from the advanced civilization and work to avoid the mistakes that led to the fall of other species. As the alien ship departed, leaving Earth to begin a new era, Evelyn and Daniel stood together, looking out at the horizon. They had made the right choice, but only time would tell if it was truly the right one. The value of choice and autonomy. One of the central themes of this story is the ethical dilemma of choice. The alien message offers humanity a way forward, but it is up to Earth's leaders and citizens to decide. The ethics of autonomy come into play: whether to accept the help and guidance of a superior civilization at the cost of their independence, or to reject it in the name of freedom. The responsibility of knowledge. The aliens offer their knowledge and guidance, but humanity must decide how to use it. The ethical question of whether or not advanced knowledge should be shared or hoarded arises. Is it right to accept help if it comes with the responsibility to use it wisely? Trust and power dynamics. The interaction between humanity and the aliens raises ethical questions about trust. Is it ethical for a superior species to offer help if they've been watching humanity for so long? What happens if the species that offers guidance has its own agenda? The balance between trust and caution is critical, as humanity learns to navigate this new relationship. Survival versus ethical compromise. Ultimately, the survival of humanity is at stake. The decision to accept the aliens' offer represents a compromise, accepting their help in exchange for certain freedoms. The story touches on the ethics of survival and whether it is justifiable to give up certain freedoms to ensure the future of humanity.